As President Trump declares "Long live the King" after ending tolls, Kathy Hochul chooses the wrong hill on which to end her political career. How's that? Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Dr. Ken Henry, and this is Conservative Commentary, where we spread the MAGA message. Before we dive in, I'd like to ask you for a favor. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. This really helps us out. And go to the address at the bottom right corner and check out our other videos at youtube.com/@themagamessage. Now, in 2022, New York announced a plan to implement what they called congestion pricing, which is a system that charges vehicles $9 both entering and exiting Manhattan below 60th Street. The program, the first of its kind in the U.S., had faced a range of political challenges, especially given New York's economic struggles, the soaring cost of living, and a general skepticism of new taxes among both residents and businesses. The decision to introduce congestion tolls, however, stirred controversy, particularly when President Trump weighed in. Trump, a New York native, criticized the plan, arguing that it would hurt working-class New Yorkers, particularly those who rely on cars for commuting, as well as small businesses in the city that are already struggling due to the economic impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. Hochul's choice to fight President Trump on this issue is tantamount to political suicide. Hochul's support for congestion pricing could alienate a large and important demographic, the middle-class New Yorkers who are already facing rising living costs. Many of these individuals rely on driving to get to work, especially given the city's struggles with public transportation. Increasing the cost of commuting would disproportionately affect those voters who work for a living, further deepening their economic divide in the state. By taking on Trump over this issue, Hochul risks becoming associated with policies that seem out of touch with the struggles of everyday New Yorkers. In a state already reeling from high taxes, soaring housing costs, and crime rates in some areas, pushing for more burdensome taxes on commuters can seem like political malpractice. In challenging Trump's opposition to congestion tolls, Hochul also sets herself up to be seen as opposing the concerns of many working-class New Yorkers who, despite their frustrations with Trump, still feel the weight of his populist rhetoric on issues like taxes and government overreach. Trump has long been a champion of middle-class Americans, and his position on congestion pricing can be seen as an extension of his broader populist agenda, which is focused on reducing taxes, lowering costs, and protecting American workers from government-imposed burdens. From a conservative standpoint, Trump's stance on congestion tolls could resonate with voters who feel that their lives are already too complicated and expensive due to taxes and government regulations. By taking on Trump's criticisms, Hochul risks positioning herself as an elitist Democrat who doesn't understand the struggles of the average New Yorker. New York now is a deeply blue state, but conservatives see it as a battleground when it comes to local and state elections. The state has experienced significant shifts in voter sentiment, especially in suburban areas, where voters are increasingly concerned about the rising costs of living and quality of life. Hochul's embrace of congestion pricing, particularly in the face of Trump's criticisms and now order to eliminate it, could prove to be an electoral misstep in these areas. In a hypothetical future rematch between Hochul and a Republican challenger, Hochul's support for policies like congestion pricing could be weaponized by her opponents, portraying her as out of touch with the needs of suburban commuters and working-class New Yorkers. By taking on Trump over this issue, Hochul risks solidifying the narrative of a Democratic Party that is more interested in implementing new taxes than in the concerns of voters. Policies like congestion pricing are seen as exacerbating the state's already burdensome tax system. New York is known for having some of the highest state and local taxes in the country, and the cost of living in New York City is among the highest in the nation, even the world. Adding an additional toll on commuters could be viewed as yet another tax on the working class, which many conservatives believe will ultimately harm the state's economy and drive people and businesses out of New York. New York needs policies that encourage economic growth, not ones that impose new financial barriers on New Yorkers. Instead of pushing for a new toll, Conservatives would argue that the focus should be on reducing government spending, cutting taxes, and improving the business climate in the state. For them, Hochul's willingness to embrace new taxes is a clear indication of her prioritization of progressive economic or environmental goals over economic pragmatism. And this could backfire. Kathy Hochul's decision to take on Trump over congestion tolls can be seen as a political miscalculation that risks alienating key voter groups and jeopardizing her chances of political survival. By advocating for a policy that many consider harmful to middle-class New Yorkers, opposition to Trump on this issue, she risks being painted as out of touch with the economic realities facing everyday residents of the state. Furthermore, by taking on a figure like Trump, who remains highly influential among a significant portion of the electorate, Hochul could find herself in a precarious position if her political adversaries use this as a wedge to galvanize conservative and moderate voters. In short, this is a textbook example of how to commit political suicide by embracing a controversial policy while unnecessarily provoking a high-profile adversary such as President Trump. Take a look at the following clip, and please share your thoughts in the comments.
At 1:01 p.m. today, the U.S. Department of Transportation emailed us a letter from Secretary Duffy announcing their attempt to end the congestion pricing program in the state of New York. At 1:58 p.m., President Donald Trump tweeted, "Long live the king." I'm here to say New York hasn't labored under a king in over 250 years. In case you don't know, New Yorkers, we're in a fight. We do not back down, not now, not ever. Because who are we fighting for here? We're fighting for our residents, our commuters, our riders, our drivers, our emergency personnel. Life has gotten better, even those who have asthma, people with illness. That's who we're fighting for. And the 6 million people who use the MTA to get to their jobs and their lives and their doctor appointment, nurses, doctors, EMTs, all the people we need to get to their jobs in a reliable way, they're now going to be affected. So I also have to raise a question. If they look at the pretext for this rejection, and we have a lot of legal reasons why we know we're going to be victorious, but they actually cited the will of New Jersey.
Let's find a way to step into our shoes without using our hands. That's where the idea started. At Kizik,
New Jersey didn't want this. Ignoring the will, the people who live here, they're elected leaders in Albany, and all of a sudden, the Trump administration is citing, well, New Jersey wasn't happy, okay? I will talk about that later. But here's what I want to also say. I don't care if you love congestion pricing or hate it. This is an attack on our sovereign identity, our independence from Washington. And this is, we are a nation of states. This is what we fought for. This is what people like Alexander Hamilton and others fought for, to set up a system where we are not subservient to a king or anyone else out of Washington. So this is the fight we're in. It's all about our sovereignty. And I spoke to the president many times in a reasonable way, calm way. You're a New Yorker. You know how essential it is to have safe, reliable public transit, or else this system shuts down. Our economy shuts down. The nation's economy could shut down. That's how essential we are. And one would think he would know that. And then you have others involved. I mean, it feels like, you know, it feels like the commuters of our city and our region are now the roadkill on Donald Trump's revenge tour against New York. And I have to say this to Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy. It's not the real world, Sean. It's real life for New Yorkers, and don't you forget that. So, we're in fight mode. Within seconds of us getting this notification, our MTA was prepared. We knew this could come. Filed a lawsuit within minutes. I'm very confident we'll be successful. And I also want to say, the cameras are staying on. We are keeping the cameras on. Lights, cameras, action. They're staying on. Last thing I'll say, if in some world that they are successful, the next time you're stuck in traffic, the next time your train is delayed, the next time you're in a flooded station because infrastructure repairs were not made, I want you to think of this. Think about this. Next time you're stuck in traffic,